Hi, welcome to Nancy Jean's Garden, and I'd like to introduce you to my new friend, Johan van Wyk, W-Y-K-Y-X, and he runs will you tell him the name of your channel on Facebook that you run?
My Facebook group that I run is called Bringing in the Fifth Dimension.
Mm-hmm. And Johan, I heard about him through, he wrote to a reader, and then she said, this guy wrote to me, and I think he's someone that you'd be interested in because he works with ley lines and energy lines and all that stuff that I've been threatening to talk to you guys about forever. And so I'm going to let him go because your stories are fascinating. What he does is he goes and finds pyramids that were set up when the Earth's first energy fields were set up, and he goes and he gets sent with some names. I think you'll understand when he says them, that they tell him to go fix the pyramids. So he's fixing pyramids all over South Africa. So I'm gonna let you go. Start talking.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you for the introduction. So, yeah, I've kind of been activating pyramids now for since I believe it was the 18th of September. And to date, I've done over 150. So these pyramids, it's easier to think of them as energy centers. I guess when people think of pyramids, they think the pyramids of Giza and all that's encompassing in their 3D structure. But these pyramids, you could say that they are a similar type, but they in the fifth dimension, and they the energy that these pyramids come through, it's the same energy that the pyramids of Giza do. So if the pyramids of Giza were the 3D form, then this is what I'm doing in the fifth dimensional form. I've been taken all over Southern Africa, so that it isn't exclusively to South Africa. It's all over Zimbabwe, Namibia, and I think I've done a few in Zambia and Mozambique. Mozambique, I've definitely done a few. And then now, that was kind of like part one, and I'm busy on part two now, where I've been traveling all over the globe kind of to do these. And yeah, it's been a one hell of a journey. I started off, being, I guess, well, we can start off at the beginning. I've always kind of been very spiritually connected. And funny enough, when I was about, young, it's a very early memory. I remember driving through a place called Harry Smith, which is between Durban and Johannesburg in South Africa. And it's this, you go up into the plateau. So it's a mountain climb. You rise about 500-700 meters vertically. And as you go through this gorge, there are these big mountains on either side. And I just remember going, that looks, I remember looking out the window just going, that reminds me of a pyramid, or there's a pyramid there. And, fast forward 20 years or so, 30 years. And it in fact was one of them that I went to go and activate again, I think late November. So I've always been, spiritually connected, and the reason why I kind of chose the family that I did, because we choose the family that we're born into and who we come with. My dad he's always been seeking the spiritual, especially since I was a young child. So I just kind of like learned through osmosis a bit in what he did. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it was kind of, I put that all on the side, and a lot of the work that I do now, I'm a photographer and filmmaker. I'd always been very spiritually inclined with the stuff that I wanted to follow. Everything that I wanted to follow was spiritually inclined. I remember I was in a very Catholic school, because I grew up Catholic. And it never resonated with me, even as a young child. I didn't get it. And when I was in school, we had a few people. We lived on a farm for a while, and we had people come in to do channelings and that. And for some reason or other, like everyone else would be like, this is weird, I don't know what this is. But for me, it just felt natural, felt normal, and it just made sense. But yeah, fast forward a few years, I never really used kind of my natural abilities. But then in September, October-ish 2019, I got very sick. I have had glandular fever before, but I got it again. We didn't know it was that at the time. And yeah, things went very downhill. I lost 14 kilos in about a month, 6 weeks. And, I used to be a very fit CrossFit person. And I've always been a person who loves exercise and being outdoors. And then that was all just taken away from me completely. And so that was something to deal with. At the same time, we had just moved away from Dubai, where I'd been for the past 4 years with my wife. And things had gone for my career tremendously well there. But I was moving towards things that weren't that, and getting away from materialism and everything that is advertising, which is what I was so heavily involved in. So through kind of this whole start of the rebirth, we went into some really dark times. It was going through a bit of a depression and figuring out what was next. And in about, I think it was midway through January 2020, I went to go see a lightworker called Fiona van Rensburg in Durban. And immediately there was like, okay, this is like something I have to follow to get where I need to go, to just heal. I'd seen light workers in the past, different ones, but this was definitely a different experience. I met kind of my guides and my higher self and the angels that are seeing over me. And the initial message was to just play more and to heal the one inner child that I had, was to just play more and be more free. So as I started doing that, went through many more guided meditations and raising my vibrations, which eventually took me to doing my high priesthood training for the halls of Amenti. So that was the first.
Excuse me, your high priestess training for what?
High priesthood training for the halls of Amenti.
Okay.
So this is a process that you can do anywhere in the world if you have the correct vibration. And it's through the Order of Lord Melchizedek.
Okay.
And yeah, it's interesting. You go into the center of the earth where the Amentian halls are, and you go through different processes. And doing all of this, you clear your karmic records, and you really just set yourself up for what you have to do next. Because if you're accepted in there, you've come with a very high purpose to do on this planet, and you have to you come in there and you it's something that once it's like taking the blue pill in the Matrix. Once you start, there's no going back.
Right.
So that training was amazing, and kind of showed me this first part of this task that I'm on, this life task of aligning all these grids. It's been a hell of a journey, and it was very clunky at the beginning, and kind of just figuring things out through intuition, and learning how to just trust my gut whole and my heart entirely. Before that, it was very much head driven, analytical, and it was just getting back to basics, getting back to what's in here. So I had to follow that. After that, I did my return to innocence, which is also, I believe, is to Lord Melchizedek's, that one as well. And that just kind of stripped back everything. It reactivated all the DNA that I needed to be reactivated, all, for lack of a better word, powers.
Okay.
And that kind of, everything just kind of, the easiest way that I can explain it is like, I got back to baseline. Before we come into this earth, how we in our purest form and best form, and then we come in here and everything gets convoluted along our way, and then we kind of find our way back as we get older. So yeah, I've been on that journey now. Since then, that would have been probably May last year, June that I finished that, and then September I started doing the activations, because in between doing all those trainings, everything started to flow. I can remember in between the high priesthood training and the return to innocence, there was about a 2-week gap that we gave as a break that we thought would be fine. And every day getting downloads, different clearings, different everything. And it's when I talk about when I'm like connecting, I just say when I was under, like I'd be doing meditations for sometimes 2-3 times a day, and it could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half each meditation, and it would just be stripped away everything, all the karma, all the traumas, all the everything. It was really just a rip back to my fundamental self, so that I could do what I needed to do, which was this whole step. So I don't know which part you want me to start at, the first one, or if I go into any detail in there.
Okay, when you activate a pyramid, I mean, you're seeing it because you can see in 5D, and the pyramids are in 5D, right? Are they collected? Yes. They're collected to earth grids or ley lines. Is that what they're doing? Or they should be, and you're fixing them?
Yes and no. So lots of them are on these ley lines and are either powering, or they're all connected to the ley lines to help support at different points. Lots of these points, some of them are quite are marked on sacred sites around the earth. And lots of these pyramids are things that man didn't really know they existed, really, because through the Akashic records and everything that I've gone through, when I was building these pyramids when the earth was being built, before we could all inhabit. So that's kind of like why I was chosen to do this part. So kind of I can see in 5D and in further dimensions. But that, what's the best way to describe it? I can't see them with my normal eyes. I can't see them, but as soon as I switch in, I can see them where they all are. And in the beginning, I couldn't really, which made it a bit hard.
That's a little tough. Go fix that thing over there. Where?
So it's like the first few, if you look on my channel, I'm like walking through the Drakensberg Mountains, which are absolutely gorgeous. But it's like, okay, I'm asking my guys, where do I go? Where's this? Where's that? And like in the first few, I got a bit lost. Like, I don't know where this is. Do we have to go here? Do we have to go there? But it's also like not being able to trust that when you're there or not. Sometimes we expect like this big shining light to just be there where everything is. And when you're first awakening, that definitely isn't there. But all the processes and through doing this so many times, it's just become almost second nature. So I know what to do, and you see, I feel everything very intuitively. It's not like I've been taught this through people or through a book or anything. It's very much following what I need to do. And certainly on the first few ones, I was like, okay, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's like, well, you just know it, just do it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to start doing what I think is right, and doors just start opening and processes start happening.
Yeah, it's like people always say to readers, you say you know that. How do you know that? And it's like, I know it like I created it. I know it because it's there. I know it because it's the truth. And when you read long enough, you get to that point where you just know it. And it frustrates the crap out of people who want to know how the hell you know it, especially people who want, I used to work in politics. I used to work with a lot of lawyers, And they always wanted like, well, how do you know that? And it was really hard. They didn't know my other side. And so I'd just say, trust me. And they learned when I just said, trust me, that they could trust me. So I know the feeling. And you're looking at these people like, I gotta explain this to you, because I can't explain it to me either.
Yeah, information just on the ether.
Some of the pyramids you've described, I watched all his videos and they're very interesting, but you talked about one that looked more like an Aztec pyramid and then it had printing inside.
Yes. Okay. So kind of some are, I wouldn't say there's types, so to speak, but they have certain qualities to them that are different than others. So kind of I think it's maybe just the vibration that it's holding and or that it was, and how it changes when I upgrade them, the whole look completely changes. So it's hard to describe that, in this 5D space, you see something as more of a 3D structure, like, I mean, just in a low dimension structure. So they each have different looks. Yeah, so some look like Aztec-y, what would be described, or a few of the others that I've been doing now, it's kind of like just a shape, and in the shape is a mirror of everything's around it. So if you look into the pyramid, you can see kind of everything that's behind you, or to the left or to the right, depending on the angle of what you're looking at. And I've done others that are like completely covered in gold. They look like, so they're extraordinary. And I mean, some of them, when I start with them, they can be like 10, 15 stories in size, so to speak, sometimes 30. And then I upgrade them generally to about 50 or 70 stories in size. So they become quite a lot larger for us. And that's generally just to accommodate all the new energy coming in, and to just marry them up and pair them up better with where they're aligned to and the sources of where that energy is coming from. It's kind of it's basically like for everyday use, is just kind of like two computers trying to talk to each other, and I'm updating the firmware on the earth side, so that, and the hardware, so to speak, so that it matches better with what's on the other side, and that the flow of energy can come through beautifully and remove what it needs to remove, replace what it needs to replace, and uplift what it needs to uplift.
Yes, because for those who are not aware, we've gone through major energy shifts starting in 2017, and in 2018 we were clearly moving out of a plasma cloud that had protected our galaxy for a long time, and now we're just out in outer space, guys, with nothing. We don't have the shields. It's messing how the sun's functioning up. We're getting hit with a lot of subatomic particles we've never been hit with before, and apparently you're there fixing the ley lines or getting the energy grid up to par. You can come to Texas anytime. We have a problem with our just 3D energy grid. If you want to come here and work on some, I'm here. And you said you work in other parts of the world. How do you do that? You don't leave South Africa?
Yeah, so I believe it's called what some would call astral projecting, or just soul traveling. I'm able to just so how I do things is that I just lie down, and how I feel energy it's quite a physical experience for me. So my whole body shakes and I convulse quite a bit, but I'm able to just kind of take myself out of my body and then travel wherever I need to. So I'll just lie down, and sometimes I'll know straight away where I'm going. Other times I won't, and then once I like get myself out of my body, then either I know where to go and I just head straight there, or Metatron's there to tell me where we're going to go, and then we just travel together.
Right. You mentioned Metatron, you mentioned Uriel, Archangel Uriel. Are those sort of the two you work with, or do you work with a bunch of them?
I'd say those would be the two most common. So most of the time it's Metatron. Uriel will come in probably let's call it 60% of that, and then Lady Gaia comes in every now and again. I've had Lord Melchizedek come in a handful of times maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Generally it's Metatron, just depending on what needs to happen and where the energy needs to go. So I'd say he's kind of like my go-to guy, especially for this task. We work very closely together. As well as Lady Guy, I work with quite a bit. I can definitely
relate to those energies.
Completely. Like Lady Guy just feels like, I mean, they all feel like old friends, but Lady Guy definitely has just that like extra special place, as well as Metatron, so to speak. I think we've done a lot of work before.
Yeah. And okay. We talked a little bit about ETs kind of being part of what's coming through now too. And that's, I think, some of my understanding is it's the more cosmic awareness off the planet stuff coming in and trying to help us keep our act together. True?
Yeah, maybe not keep our act together, but they're definitely helping us get to where we need to go and where we need to be. I mean, the Earth is a colonized planet, and we are made up of all of them in the cosmos. So that's the Palladians, the Syrians, and those kind of beings, which I mainly work with. So especially in this part 2, which I've been. So in part 1, I was kind of just doing the Earth stuff, Earth out, and then in part 2, I've been doing stuff from Earth and then heading out to the planet that I'm aligning these pyramids to, and then sending the energy in. And there, it's definitely like it's the Syrians of the if you can, I don't know the right terminology, the people of the Pallades, or the beings that they are. Those who I mainly work with. I haven't encountered any kind of like reptilians or anything like that.
Reptilians or Greys or the Arcturians, those guys. I only know their names. I don't deal with them either. So on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yes. I've worked with Arcturians once, but I can't, and definitely not recently, and I can't tell you the last time off the top of my head, that's for sure. It hasn't been within the past 2 years. So yeah, it's definitely I'm working with like Christ oversighted angels and beings. That's what I've been working with mainly.
Okay, and so phase 2 is doing the traveling outside of yourself to go places, or what is is there more to phase 2? Not that that's not enough, but
Yeah. Well, you see, I didn't even know this part of phase 2. This just kind of happened. I finished phase 1 on the 31st of December, and then this phase 2 kind of started second week of January. And phase 2, originally what it was described to me is that I'd be gathering other light workers who've been doing this similar tasks and working with the grids around the Earth, so that we can collectively have like a group meditation in which we can really kind of do the kickstart into the fifth dimension, where it just kind of unifies it all. And then this part's just kind of, I guess, been bolted on, of which in which I'm doing now more of these pyramids all over the globe. Where did I do today? So I just have some notes here. That was like yesterday I went to Kenting National Park, which is in Taiwan, the south of Taiwan. The second place, I'm butchering this, São Luís, which is in Brazil, kind of like the northern part of Brazil. And then I went to Seattle, which was the last one I was doing, by the Olympic National Park. So it's like I'll travel to these, and different places require different energies, which has been different in part 2. Part 1 was just setting it all up for it to do its thing, and part 2 is bringing in, whether it's the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the different energies that these spaces need, so that they can kind of level out or fix themselves pretty
Okay.
much.
How many of you are out there? I mean, you out there, but I mean, do you know if there's other workers that are physical?
There's definitely people on this planet who have incarnated now to do this task with me.
Mm-hmm.
How many there are, it's hard to say at this point, and what level of awakeness they are. I'm sure they're all awakening now if they haven't been awoken.
Yes.
To what they're doing. And what part of their journey on, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just didn't know if you had a sense of that, or if you ever ran into another person there trying to work on it.
I'm trying to find them, which proved a lot harder than what I thought. But I'd say there's. Let me just connect you quickly.
Well, there's a reader.
There's hundreds, not thousands. There's hundreds.
Yeah, there's a reader that I'm familiar with, and she keeps creating matchups because she knew there's a way we could project ourselves out of our bodies and kind of like have dream space together. And I've been working on a show about the change of energies, about how we need to bring people together in groups that have similar interests. That's when I saw the show from a very secure astrologer saying this is foretold, this would be in this time. I wasn't doing dream things. She was. I sent it to her. She was listening to the tape, and it literally stopped her in her tracks because she said, I thought I just thought that up. So I think there's a slow connection period that's coming to a lot of people about what they need to do and how to connect with each other, because that's one of the things that they're talking about, is that the more we can unify our efforts and raise our vibrations, that they said if we could get 2% of the whole world to do that, that the ripple out effect would be so great that it would really, and that's what you're fixing all the ley lines and energy lines up to be able to handle.
Yeah, correct. That's just kind of preparing the environment for all of us to thrive in and to grow, to heal. Because when you move into this 5D space, everything's going to be accelerated. Our accelerated learning, our healing, and just everyone living through a heart and living for each other, not against or for oneself. The old energy is going to leave, and as I won't be able to withstand the new frequency of the earth. And it's fine, we've all chosen to be here at this specific time, and we all understand on a soul level that these changes are happening. So the old will replace the new, and that might be quite hard sore for some people, but it will, for the collective, it's what has to happen.
Well, it's what's been foretold is going to happen to us, and so there's always going to be resistance to that kind of change. And of course, then they go and they do the worst thing they could do to even have a shot at raising their vibrations. They go into hate and fear, which kind of wipes out your chance at.
That's been an interesting process of this. The whole COVID thing is kind of the hate and fear, and how that's kind of separated us, and separated some, but it's brought a lot more together. And as a collective, people have realized what life is about more than what life was. So everyone's chasing something new now. It's more about family and connectedness rather than just money or power or fame, whatever you want to put your thing in. It's definitely a time of where the collective working together is going to be far more powerful than what any of us could do by ourselves.
Well, I don't think humanity's had quite such a chance to realize that we are all humanity, because we can all get this crap. And, and no matter how hard you hide from it, it's there. And it's made people more aware of our interconnectedness than I would have sensed before. And it pushed, I'd still be table reading at a wine bar and in a vintage shop just for fun. And I ended up on YouTube doing all other sorts of things that it pushed me into a whole nother level of having to be as your guides and your lessons and your things are pushing you. And I think that's important for people to understand. Johan and I weren't born doing this. we had to work at it a little bit. You have to put some thought into it. You have to put some training into it. But if you do, then you can do these fantastic things to help the whole planet.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's self-fulfilling work. And you can only do what's true to you and to your heart. We each have the most unique talent, and we can only follow what our heart wants. The age of following your mind is gone. Our minds, and what our minds are, and what we believe that all the processing happens here. But I believe our mind is more like a transceiver, where once we've connected, we just let it flow, and what comes up from the top just flows through you, and it just happens and makes sense. And it I guess for people who can't experience that, it's easy to say, "Are you making it up, or you going along with whatever?" But when you're truly connected, answers just appear for you. And I'm not saying all the answers appear when you exactly need them. Sometimes they come when you need them, and when you need them most. But that information flowing through us is, I think the understanding of the brain is not near as what it will be in the near future.
Yeah, it's so minuscule compared to what we know we really could do. Well, this has been fascinating to me. I hope it's fascinating to my audience when they see you. Let's see, trying to make sure I didn't say something. Damn, why didn't I ask about that? I'm going to put Johan's email below, and I'm going to put the name of his Facebook below. And he's also on Telegram. And if I can ever figure that out, I'll put the link for Telegram on there. My phone wouldn't let me download it, but that's just probably because it's my weird phone. And do you have anything you'd like to say in closing, or a plea you would like to make to people, and call for action to contact you about anything that's going on? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to answer any questions that anyone has to ask. And if you think you've been doing something similar in a different form, I'd love to hear from you. I just spoke to a lady earlier about how she was doing kind of some of these grid activations, or what she called like earth chakras, which effectively are the ley lines, and how she was doing them in a slightly different way. So yeah, I want to hear people's stories and connect with them and hear what they're all doing. It's I'm trying to find my soul tribe, for lack of a word. And yeah, I'm willing to speak and learn from every person, because we can all learn so much from each other. And I think the more we connect with each other, the better we are, and we all collectively raise the vibration of this earth together.
That's right. That's exactly what this is all about. I couldn't agree with you more. And I look forward to speaking with you again, because I'm sure we're going to hear a whole lot of questions. This show that you're watching right now is a premiere. I hope Johan can get here and be on it with me, and we will be talking with you in the chat room. And I'm glad to have brought you along to meet everybody. And because I know South Africa is not quite as isolated as being in Texas, but it's close. Anyway, you have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Say goodbye.
Nancy, thank you so much for having me on.